Yo, what's up guys? How you all doing? My name is Sparky, coming back at you guys with a pure Fiendsmith deck profile. I've been playing a lot of both last format and this new upcoming post crossover breakers format with this deck, and I wanted to just talk to you guys about how it functions into the new upcoming meta. I think there's a lot of sentiment that the pure Fiendsmith deck or the Fiendsmith Kashtira deck is like bad going into the new format. It can't compete into Ryzeal, but in my testing it's been actually pretty much the complete opposite. It's been really good into the decks that are currently in the meta, and it's been really good into both Ryzeal and to Malice as well. So I wanted to talk about some the new things that I've discovered in the deck, and yeah, just what helps you win into the new meta threats. So, starting off, we got 3 copies of Fiendsmith Lacrima. Lacrima is just an absolutely insane card. It's very difficult to interact with Lacrima almost at all. No hand traps can stop it. No matter what you're doing to Lacrima, she's basically always going to provide some sort of interruption via Fiendsmith and Paradise on your opponent's turn, because no matter what they do, as long as you get Lacrima and Requiem in Graveyard, it'll translate into a Paradise, which gives you any send, which is absolutely phenomenal into both Malice and Ryzeal. Actually better than into any of the decks that are currently in the format, because if you Paradise a Duo Drive or a Haggard Lizardos, it can completely end their turn. To go with it, you got one of the new art, Lurie. You gotta play new art. If you play post art, you're completely outdated. The deck's almost unplayable. Got 3 Engraver, 3 Tracked, 1 Sanct. I think you do have to play Sanct. A lot of people aren't playing it right now, but it lets you play more Tracked, Tracked is an amazing card, because if you play Sanct, then Engraver and Tracked are actually able to play through basically every single hand trap. That means before, you always have to start Tracked because it's better into Droll. It's full combo through Droll. If you go Engraver, you get nothing into Droll. Playing Sanct also lets Engraver play through Droll pretty well. Basically, just full combo through Droll as well if you go Sanct. And then it lets you play through Ash, because you're going to start Tracked, so you can get a Engraver draw by a Necroquip, and if they do have Ash for the Tracked or the Requiem, you can use Engraver to extend. So it helps you play through a lot of stuff by just playing the 1 Sanct, and it's just basically it's full combo on its own. It doesn't let you do everything because you're missing the 1 Light Fiend body Engrave, but it's still very strong. It's a good extender. And the new kind of technology that we're adding to the deck is Evil Hero Adusted Gold. So Adusted Gold, as a normal summon, it's just full combo, because you get the Light Fiend in Graveyard, and it just does everything you want. You're setting up Lars plus the Fiendsmith and Paradise in the Graveyard. And then if you already draw access to Fiendsmith or any of these guys, you can go Adusted Gold gets a draw via Necroquip, and then Evil Mind is basically an upstart goblin. So if you already have Fiendsmith Engine, and you get hand trapped at all, Adusted Gold essentially becomes just a pot of greed, which is absolutely insane. Allowing you to up the starter count, but also give you a good card to help you play through hand traps and just give you draws to get into your non-engine while still keeping the starter count high is absolutely essential. It's also a really nice search off Tracked a lot of the time. In a lot of testing games, I draw Tracked Lurie. I'd get Peruliate or something, and I'd go Tracked, grab Adusted Gold, discard Lurie, Requiem into Lacrima, dump Engraver, make a Necroquip. You go Adusted Gold, draw, Evil Mind, draw, Lars, you have the trap in Graveyard, 5 in hand. You're just absolutely cooking. For the non-engine, we're playing 3 Fenrir still. I don't like the cash cards, as far as Unicorn, Birth, and Wraithsoth. They're still good, especially going first. But against Ryzeal, it's actually pretty difficult a lot of the time to stop them from getting to their detonator. If you're not drawing 3 or 4 hand traps, they're probably going to get to detonator at some point, which just completely destroys Wraithsoth. This deck is also really good into every single hand trap, be like Mourner, Veiler, Imperm, Purge, Ash, Ogre. And if you're playing the Unicorn, it's like really good into Ash and stuff like that. But it makes the deck a lot worse into like Mourner, Veiler, Imperm, and Ogre because um, the Ogre is like a really good hit for Birth. And then if they're ever summoning the Kashtira Unicorn, you can just Mourner it, Veiler it, Imperm it, Purge it, and it's just basically the card gets completely negged. Because at best, you can do the full combo without it, and then it just gets you one extra deck rip on your opponent's turn, which just isn't enough for one card. And then going second, Ryzeal is just, always going to die to like a Detonator, and doesn't really combo, but Fenrir doesn't get hit by Imperms, doesn't get hit by Mourner, doesn't get hit by Veiler, and going second, it actually does help to clear the Detonator, and they can't really do much about it. As far as the hand traps, we play 3 Nib, 3 Ogre, 3 Mourner, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Purge, and 3 Imperm. I think this is probably the non-engine suite you want. Droll is not good enough into Malice, and it conflicts with all your other hand traps. You kind of want to stop them, not just delay them a turn, and Droll just doesn't really accomplish that. Bell is not good into Malice or Ryzeal. You can play Talents. Talents is very good going second into Ryzeal. The issue is going first, it's like only okay. It makes your good hands better because if you get hand trapped, you get to just completely plus. But you're already, every time they hand trap you, you're essentially going +1 because they're just hand looping themselves. And Talents is a bit more win more in that sense, and it's making your worse hands a lot worse, where you're like not starting at all, or you get like impermed, purged, or shifted, Fuvalos, Perulia, any of those things can like draw or standby, and it just accentuates the bad hands and makes your better hands a bit more win more. Dusted Gold kind of fills that role already, where if they have the hand trap in graveyard, if they did like a Talents hand trap, or even a standby phase 1, it lets you get like draws and kind of fulfill that role. As far as the extra deck, we play 2 Requiem, 1 Sequence, 1 Atom Day, 1 Moon, 1 Lina, and 1 SP. I think all these make sense except for Lina. Maybe is a bit weird for some people. Maybe the second Requiem is a bit weird. You need 2 Requiem because you always want to keep a Requiem in graveyard with the Lacrima to like play on your opponent's turn, and then on your turn you want a second one as well, because you don't want to have to like start your turn with Engraver to shuffle it back. Also, you never want to lose Requiem. Requiem's like the heart and soul of the deck. Gives you sends on both turns, lets you play on both turns. It's absolutely insane. Lina is really, really nice because it lets you like play with your opponent's Fiendsmith cards. It gives you like easy SP lines because before you need like a Necroquip or like a Requiem to SP, which just isn't very possible a lot of the time, especially on your opponent's turn. And then it also, against Ryzeal, you can Lina take their Detonator, and then Detonator triggers to attach on Special Summon. So you can go Lina, get the Detonator, maybe go Lina on something else and do an SP, and then Detonator can attack directly, and you can put a Zeus on top of it because you had an attached material whenever you summoned it, which gives you a 2-mana Zeus. Necroquip, necessary, gives you the draws. 2 Desiree, you could maybe cut down to 1 Desiree. I think it's like, not very good because sometimes you do end on Desiree, not very often, but sometimes you do. And you need to be able to send another Desiree. And then other times you have Desiree in graveyard and you need to be able to make a Desiree on your own turn. Because maybe you went through like Sequence, you need to shuffle back Sequence, and you can't shuffle back the Desiree. So in order to do that, you need to go Desiree and 2 other guys to make a new Desiree. You could cut it down. I think it's worth playing. For the Xyz, you play 1 Zeus, 1 Typhon, both 100% necessary, 1 Gaia Dragon, necessary. You do format Zeus a lot. That's like your primary game plan going second is the format Zeus. 1 Lars and 1 Ptolemy. Most people, I think, are maining Caesar right now. I think going into the format Lars is a lot better. It's a lot better into talents, which is pretty popular. And then also Meteorologic Aggregator, because X can send that. If they draw X Ryzeal, your Caesar does absolutely nothing, but you can't actually target Lars with Aggregator, so basically it just does nothing. You're just completely blanking that, like, piece of interaction they had to push through your board, and usually you can just, like, Lars to stop, like, a important spell, Paradise stops the duo drive, and you're just completely destroying them going first. And M7 is really nice to be able to, like, get back, like, a hand trap, and then make a Zeus. Into the sideboard, we have Perulia, really nice into Ryzeal, a couple of other decks as well. Fuvalos, pretty good into, like, most everything. It's actually good into this matchup. Fuvalos is really nice into, like, some of the heavier combo decks, like Ubel. It's pretty good into Malice. And then Lancia is amazing into Malice. Malice is one of the harder matchups, I'd say. Sometimes they do just die to, like, Imperm or Veiler, like Ash or Purge on, like, a Signet Mining, an Ogre on a Haggard Lizardos can be really devastating, and Nib is just nuts into Malice. Nib is just, like, the god card, besides Lancia. But having Lancia and Nib and, like, a lot of, like, other, like, small and, like, less impactful hand traps, plus, like, Fuvalos as well, makes the matchup much better. Especially because Lancia is a card that you can play going first and going second into Malice. And then we have 3 Strike, 3 Judgment. It's a lot better than playing, like, targeted cards like Barrier, because you can just play 6 traps going into every single matchup, and you do. You're just going to take out whatever hand traps basically aren't as good into that matchup, and you'll play 6 traps. And then Ice Hide the Caesar, it's nice into a lot of other decks. You're going to want Caesar. Definitely worth playing that. Basically, like, if you're putting in 1 card for a matchup, you're not going to see it very often, but if you're putting an extra deck card, you'll have it every single game you play. Caesar's really nice into Malice. It's really nice into, like, Tempai. Tempai I'll actually usually keep Lars and Caesar in, because I prefer Lars going first into Tempai. Or, like, for my turn 1 play to stop board breakers. But Caesar is really nice, like, breaking their board. To stop, like, seals sometimes, usually not, but, like, if you imperm the seals and they're holding on the effect, you can stop that. Stops Sungin Kaiman, stops the Genraku, just a lot of things it stops really well. Yeah, I've had a lot of success with the deck, done a lot of testing against Ryzeal Malice. It's come out pretty far ahead. It's just one of those decks where you can't side deck particularly well into this deck. Like, Lancia doesn't hurt it. Like, D-Berry you don't really care. They'll, like, have to go for Xyz or Fusion, but neither really matter against you. And overall, you just, like, don't get hit by any of the strong cards, and you can just shut down any single deck in the format because the cantrips are just that good in that generic. Even against, like, decks that I'm playing against right now, I'm, like, basically been in and out top 10 on the ladder against, like, current decks. It just really does kind of fill that role of, like, pretty good into anything. And if your opponent messes up just once, you can just spiral out of control and make sure they never get back into the matchup. And it really is just solid into every single matchup. So yeah, I hope you all had some, you know, interesting things you took from this deck. I think, for the most part, a lot of the stuff is, you know, pretty new. Like, pure Fiendsmith as a concept hasn't really been too far explored, and I think there's actually a lot of room for improvement in this deck. The Primate cards are pretty nice, and yeah, there's a lot more you can do with the hero package. You could play more. You could play, like, a hero list for Stratos. You could do more, but honestly, I think just, like, keeping the engine as clean as possible so you can really focus on what the deck shines is really nice as well. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And yeah, that's about it. Have a good day. Take care.